Hola, en esta lección vamos a hablar sobre los adjetivos posesivos. We're going to be talking today about possessive adjectives. So as we know, an adjective is a word that is describing a noun. So a possessive adjective is an adjective that is showing possession, perdón. So in this chapter, we learn a couple of different ways to show possession, but I want to touch on really three different ways to show possession. One, as you learned, is with using the el verbo tener. Okay, so we can say, like, I have something. Yo tengo dos abuelos. Tú tienes una casa. Él tiene un carro. He has a car. You have a house. Okay, so these are ways of showing possession of something by saying what someone has, usando el verbo tener. In another lesson in this chapter, you learned about the verb tener, which means to have, and its various conjugations. Tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tienen. Let's talk about another way, using the possessive adjectives. So these are words like my, your, his, her, our, and these are used in conjunction with the noun. So, por ejemplo, en esta frase, in this sentence, mis abuelos viven en España. My grandparents. I'm showing that these are mine, they belong to me by using mis. When we look over here at this example, Ricardo y Tere son mis primos. Ricardo and Tere are my cousins. Notice that it has to agree by number. Mi, if it's my one thing, mi abuelo, or mis, if it's plural. Okay, we'll talk about that again in a moment. Another way of indicating possession is by using the pronoun. Perdón, no puedo hablar hoy. The preposición de. La preposición de. We're using the preposition de. De means of or from, as you probably learned in other lessons. But in this case, we're basically saying of. In Spanish, you do not have a possessive with the apostrophe S. We don't use the apostrophe S. So we can't say Elena's carro, okay? No es Elena's carro, es el carro de Elena. So when we're saying that something belongs to a person and we're giving their actual name or we're giving the noun, and we're not saying my, his, her, your, or our, we're saying that it belongs to someone, okay? It could be my cousin's car, el carro de mis primos, okay? They're my cousins. I'm showing possessive using mis, but I'm showing who possesses the car by using de. So an example here is el carro de Elena. It's the car of Elena. So we're always going to use de when we're talking about an object and telling who it belongs to. It is the blank of blank. So possessive adjectives, they show ownership. For example, mi casa es roja. My house is red. They can also show a relationship of belonging with people, right? Mi mejor amiga, my best friend, or even things. Mi clase de filosofía, right? My philosophy class. Here are your different forms that you're going to use. If you're saying my, something that belongs to you and you're showing possession, you would use mi or mis. Depende si es singular or plural, right? If it's my uncle, mi tío. If it's my uncles or my aunts and uncles, mis tíos. So notice it must agree with the noun by number. Mi tío, mis tíos. Tu hermana, tus hermanas. Okay, and this doesn't have to do with how many people belong to, because we know me is talking about what belongs to me, and I'm always singular. However, it has to agree with what it is that it belongs to me. Tu hermana, tus hermanas, su abuelo, sus abuelos. Nuestro amigo, nuestros amigos, nuestra amiga, or nuestras amigas. Notice here that we have to agree in the our form, in nuestro, it has to agree by both gender and number. So if I'm saying my friend that's a female, or our friend that's female, nuestra amiga. Okay, if I'm saying our friends that are males, nuestros amigos. If I'm talking about something that belongs to us that is feminine, like casa, I would say nuestra casa. Okay, if I'm talking about something that's masculine, like our car, nuestro carro. If we have more than one of those items, then it must be plural. Nuestras casas son grandes. Nuestros carros son bonitos. Okay. And then, of course, su and sus again for your, you all, or their. So notice that su is used, or sus is used for the third person. Anytime it's his, her, or their, but also for the formal forms of you, for usted and ustedes. So if I say su abuela es muy simpática, then I could be saying his grandmother is very nice, or I could be saying your grandmother, formally speaking to you, is very nice. So keep that in mind. Context, we would need to understand for context who the su or sus is belonging to. One way I always remember it, if it doesn't belong to me or doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Sue. Sue has everything else, right? And obviously, literally speaking, that's not what it means. But if it belongs to me, I use me, or I can use nuestro because that belongs to us. So that includes me. And tu, I use tu, or vuestro, vuestra, right? This includes you, tu. Because it means you all. So if it doesn't belong to me or to you, it belongs to Sue, right? Sue, he or his or hers or theirs, and then of course those formas formales, formal forms. Okay, so again, the possessive adjectives have to agree with what's being possessed. Here's some examples. Susana tiene nuestros libros, right? We're not talking about Susana's libros. We're saying that she has our books. So nuestros libros. So it must agree with libros, right? And we must use the possessive adjective for to whom the item belongs, okay? It's not always going to be the subject. Mis padres y yo vivimos en nuestra casa. We live in our house, nuestra casa. If it's owned by Sue or Sus and it's not clear from the context, you might want to use an alternate form to clarify, meaning de plus the person's name, okay? Or de plus the pronoun in it, meaning de él, de ella, de usted, if we know who él, ella, usted are in that instance as well. So if I just say es el carro de ellos, okay, I'm saying it is their car. I could say es su carro. Es su carro. It's his car. It's her car. It's their car. It's your car. Whose car is it? But if we don't know the context, but if we don't, we can clarify. Es el carro de él, or es el carro de Jorge. Es el carro de ella, or es el carro de Elena, right? Es el carro de usted. Es el carro de ellos. Es el carro de mis amigos. Es el carro de ellas. Es el carro de mis hermanas, right? Could be anybody that we just need to clarify because we don't know who Sue is referring to. And again, just to reiterate, there is no apostrophe S in Spanish. Instead, we use this form. We use de, okay, plus the person that it belongs to, right? We don't say Elena's car. We say es el carro de Elena. Okay, aquí es una actividad de práctica. This is in your slideshow, so you may have already practiced it, and you can stop the video here if you have, or if you want to practice it in the slideshow, or you can pause here for a moment, and then when you unpause, you will see the correct answers displayed, and then I'll go over each one and we'll explain. Okay, muy bien. Hopefully you got all these right. If you didn't, you can listen to the explanation. Hola, Mariela, te presento a mi primo. I'm talking to Mariela, and I am introducing her to my cousin, mi primo, right? Esta es, and I gave you various different examples. It could say, esta es mi casa, if I'm just talking about my house. I could say, esta es su casa, if I'm talking about my primo's house, right? La casa de mi primo. Or I could say, esta es nuestra casa. Perhaps I live with my primo. Or my primo lives with me and my familia. And it would be our house. So, esta es nuestra casa. This is our house. So, I gave options for any of those that could be correct. Tengo dos hermanos. Mis hermanos viven en Estados Unidos. So, I'm telling you that I have two brothers or two siblings, and then I'm going to clarify that they live in the United States. So, I'm going to refer back to them as my brothers or my siblings, mis hermanos. Yo vivo con mis padres. I live with my parents. Now, I could have said yo vivo con tus padres or sus padres if we had established context that I'm telling you that I live with someone else other than my parents. But we're going to assume here that I live with mis padres. And I'm going to ask you, ¿y tú vives con tus padres? Do you live with your parents, tus padres? Now I'm talking to each of these people and asking them about the information about themselves. So, Patricia, she's my friend, so I'm going to use la forma de tú, right? So I'm going to say, ¿Es este tu bolígrafo? Is this your pen? ¿Es este tu bolígrafo? Now, I could be pointing to someone else and ask her if it's his pen or her pen. But in this case, we're going to assume that we're asking the speaker if this item belongs to them. So, Patricia, ¿es este tu bolígrafo? Is this your pen? Juan, ¿es este tu reloj? Is this your watch, Juan? Katrina y Estela, ¿son esas sus tareas? I'm asking Katrina y Estela, are those your homework? ¿Son esas sus tareas? Those your work. Señora Martinez, ¿es este su mapa? We're using the formal form here, so ¿es este su mapa? Is this your mapa? Usando la forma formal. Okay. If you have any questions about this topic, please feel free to message me. I'm glad to help out and answer any questions I can via email, or I can arrange for a phone call or a virtual meetup in order to go over this topic in a little bit more detail. Okay, tengan un buen día y adiós.